Good morning, Lagos, and welcome to the final segment of Smooth Breakfast here on Smooth 98.1. I am Ayo Mairo Ese.
My name is Valentine Ohu. Good morning and thank you for joining us.
All right, so today, as we promised, we have a Lagos Talks 91 special. On Wednesdays, we usually have a special, and that's when we have conversations around a particular topic away from the national newspaper headlines. Sometimes it's prompted by some of the bigger stories in the news. Well, today, and let me give a little preamble to what we're going to be talking about, and then I'm sure Valentine will do a proper introduction. And that's that Valentine's Day is on Friday. A lot of us are going to be going out, and a lot of businesses in particular are tailoring their services to maximize profit in this season. However, some people shoot themselves in the foot by having the best products, best items and offers, but horrible customer service, horrible attention to their clients, horrible attention to how they hope to retain their clients for beyond the Valentine season. Some people, they one experience stop shop. Once you go there, you never go there again. One hit wonder. So we're going to be looking very broadly from the corporate sector, and then of course to service providers and those who provide products, and talk about this. And to join us, we have a very special guest. She's coming all the way from the UK. She works with the NHS Trust as a patient services team lead. So when it comes to client retention, customer facing, she definitely has her eye on that. And she ensures that services run smoothly and efficiently. We would like to make very welcome to the Smooth 981 show, Smooth Breakfast, for the very first time, Faith Azugwo.
Hello. Hi.
Thank you for joining us.
Good to have you on the show.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming. You're very special to me because this is a topic that's very special to my heart. But allow Valentine, take us to what we're going to be focusing on this morning.
Yeah, so customer service and client retention is the area. So that's the topic for the conversation this morning. Please send us messages on WhatsApp 0809 444 0981. 0809 444 0981. That's our WhatsApp number. You can tweet at Smooth981FM. Use that hashtag Lagos Talks 981. Send us messages through our YouTube channel as we're streaming live.
Yes, we're streaming live. Go to YouTube at Smooth981FM Lagos and use the live chat option there to send us your message or just say hi to us this morning.
All right, so this is your baby, Ayo.
My baby.
You're very, very passionate about customer service. I can tell you for free, behind the microphone, like when we're on commercial break and we have conversations around our experiences, daily experiences with dealing with services, right? Ayo goes to a shop or a business or walks into an office, and the first few interactions could either make her excited or take her off. And I'm using you as a case in point because, of course, we know how easily you talk about service. The way you, listening to this show, has had an experience purchasing an item that you never forgot. I mean, such stories should be told over and over again. But we have more stories that make us cringe and would rather not go back to that space.
Excuse me, I'm going to focus on a sentence you made, and that would hopefully drive our conversation this morning, and that is customer service the way it should be. Now, Faith, you work in the UK, but I know that you have opportunities to visit Nigeria once in a while, and I would like for you to please share your experiences and what it's like for you, how you describe the Nigerian terrain, and perhaps compare it to what's obtained abroad.
Okay. Well, first of all, good morning, everyone, and good morning to the listeners. To me, what customer service is about, branding your clients, your patients, sees you within the industry you operate in. So for me, customer service is actually important because customer service is not just about face-to-face, it's how you deal with your customer bases. It's from the first interaction they have with your product to when they finish. So when you go into a shop, it's how you behave towards that customer, how you actually serve them, and how you actually deliver your product to them. That's what customer service means to me. I mean, having worked in different industries, Presently I work within the customer service performance indicators. So in terms of, for example, when a patient comes in, we look at how long we actually see those patients, how long are they waiting for. If they've been waiting for more than 15 minutes, we know that we're breaking our targets. And the other thing is how we process referrals. Any referrals that come in, we have to ensure that they process within 5 working days, and some of those patients need to be seen within 2 weeks in the hospital environment. Another one is, we're governed by Data Protection Act. So, for example, when we have patients calling to find out information, we have identifiers. We can't just, give information out. We have to find out that we're actually speaking to the right people. Also, when we're dealing with our customers, when we are writing back to them, we always have to ensure that we have the correct names, the correct addresses, because if not, we held accountability for those, for any errors.
Lastly, borrow a lot of good points from here. The first thing you talked about was the time of response. So when people come, waiting time, and I know this is such a big deal, anywhere for any serious industry, you want to ensure that your customers have a minimum amount of waiting time before they attended to. When they're listening to me and they've had experiences where, particularly for their phone call centers, you call and then you're there for about 10, not even attend to you, response to you, you have to go give me. I love that, because it's something I feel that we need to train people in this part of the world, with due respect, that your spouse or your family member is not acceptable.
No, it's not.
Particularly when you're working in a sensitive aspect, like you're working in health. And then finally you talk about courtesy. May I? A person's name should be
Just for your name and you don't call it. That's a major problem, in this part. But moving away from the titles themselves, in terms of having conversations, the first area you mentioned, the wait time, that's a big headache. I customer service, I would expect at least the customer service agents to pick up as soon as I engage. I pick this. Takes 20. There's always a competition between.
The thing that we make sure. So, for example, I'll use John Lewis. One of my favorite stores. If you call John Lewis store, online, and they're keeping you waiting, you have an option of actually, after a certain amount of time, you have an option of leaving your name and your telephone number, and they call you back.
So that's the difference here, don't?
Yeah, so they call you back, and the banking industry, they can also do that as well. They call you back, because the worst thing they want is customers waiting for such a long time. They're even better for me. So it was
that one of the things we share with best practices.
Yes.
And bad, it's to actually help people who genuinely don't understand the concept of customer relation and client retention. So perhaps would probably say our focus be for smaller businesses. The bigger ones probably have, they have access to training, access to practices around the world, but smaller businesses perhaps don't. So some of the things we'll be sharing with us this morning will help in that way. So that's a point. One way that you can help them is possibly have a callback service if you can afford to, and ask people. That's a good way to do that.
I don't know whether they have a free phone number here. I was going to say, okay, so there was a time, and we're not even acknowledged whatsoever, and the sales assistant wanted to buy something. They were just talking, and
Please mention that.
Yeah,
That happens to me many times.
and it's like, at the end of, we just ended up leaving because we thought, okay, we're not important, so we'll go somewhere else. It's a very competitive market, so there's always somebody that would want your business if you're not attending to your customers, and it happens all the time when you go to restaurants. Sometimes.
This is Lagos Talks 91 here on Smooth 98.1. I'm Ayo Mairo Ese.
I'm Valentine Ohu. Good morning.
This morning we're talking about customer service and client retention for our Lagos Talk special. And to join us for this conversation, we have questions that go on longer than should be, and then
but there's some certain areas we need to improve, we need to improve upon. So myself and my sister, we went out um, to a shop. I'm not going to call the shop, and we wanted to buy some stuff, and we were not acknowledged whatsoever by the sales assistants. And we waited on the phone. After she came off the phone, she was talking to a colleague. We walked their attention, they didn't come to us, so we just left, went somewhere else. And what I was actually saying is that, it's a versus if you're not going to serve your customer, there'll be somebody else that would be happy to do that.
That's how you lose money.
Yes.
But then it comes and they're gisting.
Because if you're not trained properly in development, then you can't actually deliver properly to your customers.
That's very true. Thank you very much. Quick tip right there that I have to extract with regards to when physical stores, is that if we can trust that when a customer comes in, the first thing you do is to acknowledge them. There are a number of stores who are now.
You can actually get your staff to go to other organizations to see how those organizations that are performing well are doing their trainings. And I know in the UK, some organizations, to be a point of, how do you say
reference.
A point of reference, because they're proud to be number one. I'll use Tesco. When Tesco used to be the number one retail industry, other organizations were actually looking at how they were doing it. So they had different segments. They were looking at their customers. They brought out something called Every Little Helps, which means if you see a customer, for example, struggling with their shopping, somebody goes there and helps them with that shopping. You have somebody that can assist you. If, for example, if you're disabled, dislike basically, they don't want to wait for long. So all those things they've put into training to teach everybody, so that we are all multi-skilled. We can all do the same thing. And that's the other thing that they've actually trained their staff on.
That's really interesting that you mentioned that, because I'm thinking about this, and I imagine companies or brand owners
rate more on the products or what the ambience, put a lot of money into decor and all that, and they neglect this aspect, not understanding the economic value of this. And just like Valentine mentioned, you put so much into things, but you're getting it wrong in one area, and your one business is failing. So please, can we just touch on the important monetary?
You want your organization important. People always remember branding, and the quality of the product you're actually giving your customers have to, it's also important. So what I always say is, if for example, if a customer buys something from your store, always make sure, ask for feedbacks on how your service is. These days we have so many different platforms of how you can get feedbacks from your customers, which is like, the Facebook, the typical ones, Twitter,
social
media. Social media, you've got Instagram. Deal with complaints quickly so that this doesn't escalate, because if somebody's not happy, they will tell 10 people, and those other 10 people will tell another 10 people, so it's important that you nip those complaints in the bud. You have to be able to adapt. You have to be able to adapt. Every customer as the same. They're all individuals. Know your market. Know what your competitors are actually doing. The other thing I've got here is listen to the ground staff, because the people at the top, they don't really know their customers. It's the staff at the bottom that deal with those customers on a daily basis, so they know the needs and wants, and they can also help to improve your organization or business.
That's interesting.
Yes, it is.
Very, very, very interested. So yeah, this goes out to everybody who's sending me just feedback forms.
Okay. So there are a few websites, especially in the UK. They have customer sections. And if a customer is not happy, for example, and they've left a comment on there, you respond to that comment, And you can also get those customers to contact you directly, so you can actually deal with the issues that they have. Again, I'll use John Lewis. I'll use John Lewis as an example. They always have the hospitals as well. With some hospitals, or where patients are saying, no, we were waiting for like 4 or 5 hours, and what we try to do is to ensure that we respond back to those customers. If it's not the same day, it would be definitely be within 5 working days, because
held accountable really about something is that there's competitiveness between from business to business, so B2B services and all that. But going down to staff, the ground staff that you mentioned earlier, I sense, you can correct me if I'm wrong, I sense that because the way staff is paid outside Nigeria is that's different from the way it is here. That probably influences how committed they are to providing the kind of service that the owner would provide. I give you an example. I probably own a business, right? And the kind of commitment I would put to my business would be different from what my ground staff would give out.
Products you sell.
So incentives.
Yeah, they have incentives. And I used to work for a building society where I had to manage change. And one of the things I brought in again was incentives. In terms of how many, not work that is done, but if they met their target. So, for example, if they've done all their targets for that month, if they haven't had any complaints, they get some type of a reward at the end of the month. And a lot of the time, all of it, but they meet some of it, so they do get some of that bonuses. What we tend to do is we tend to give like £30 voucher if they meet all their criteria. They don't, maybe some months they'll get 25, some months they'll get 20. It just depends.
So it's not all about how much money they make. It's about the way the customer feels.
Yeah, but then at the end of the day as well, I think it's about you get some people that actually do go that extra mile every month. It's not so much getting promotion or being put forward for the employee. They've gone that
reward, creating a healthy reward
to be monetary either.
Yes, for that point. We want to break, and joining us or helping us with this conversation is Faith Azugwo, is the patient services lead at the NHS UK. Fantastic.
Am I answering the question?
Yes, you are. So I'm going off track. No. What so what I wanted us to do was that there's this article in there's an article in entrepreneur.com.
Okay.
And I'd like us to take each point. I'll just mention it so that we can discuss it, have a discussion around that. So that should help to ease in terms of it would be conversational.
Yes,
so
sure.
Yeah.
Okay, and then we need to limit
But as business owners, we also have a huge role. One of such ways is in the way that we handle customer service in our organizations. Before the break, we've touched on very deeply into how to encourage or motivate your staff to ensure that they want to feel a sense of ownership, to spur them on into giving their best in customer service, and in the end retaining your clients. Now, I'd like us to choose to invest in building a good customer service team. I'm sure you'd agree with them, Faith, is customer retention is far less expensive than customer acquisition. I saw this and I thought we actually don't think of it's more expensive systems around, like you mentioned about the feedback. Very important is that existing customers are more likely customers. So for a new business owner, you talked about earlier on, Faith, that the fact that there's competition. We have so many people offering the same service. So which is easier for you? Me personally, I like to shop in the same place because I know the products, I know what I'm getting, I know the products, I know the quality, I know the service, and I know if there's anything wrong, I will always, I'm always able to find somebody to talk to. They listen to my complaints if I complain about things. And that's not just for me, that's for
a lot of people as well, and that's why those organizations are still there, because they listen to their customers. That's why they've got the longevity of business. Yeah.
How important is the customer though in a business?
Well, customer is everything, you know. The reason why an individual has a business is because of their customer. If you don't have a customer, you don't have your business. They are the people. Sometimes you have to spend, like I said, detrimental effect on a business. So I always say it's important to just treat not
There are a few situations they help, well, for lack of a better word, help them on running your business down, finding stinkers, target a lot of blogs and attacking this clients. And upon investigation, I realized that the clients had actually filed a complaint to the police in the past, both in UK and in Nigeria, for this particular reason. But if customers, if somebody who pretends or fakes to be a customer,
I mean, in terms of those cases, I'll just block. No, I'll just, you know, yeah, I'll block those people, you know, because, you know, that's quite damaging as well for the, you know, for the business or the organization.
Especially on social media.
Exactly, but every complaint or has to be taken seriously first, you know, before you do anything else. So you followed the right protocols anyway in terms of that case. Yes.
All right, thank you so much. And we'll have to go on a break now. When we come back, we'll be wrapping up the show. I just like Valentine, I was going to ask you. What about?
Are you nervous?
But you're doing well. No need for shame. See this? I like it.
I'm not.
No, are you filming us?
The network is bad, so you currently not.
See, all these 2 bedrooms, so it's just 2 nights.
That's a quality distant experience. It's a privilege for some. Well, that has changed now. Quality data just got more affordable with 9 mobile. Get 7 gigabytes plus free access to social media for 1,500 naira. 15 gigabytes plus free night video streaming for 5,000 naira. And much more across other data plans. Dial star 200 star 3 star 1 power shine mobile. Here for you.
No, this looks
for
like what's this called? 1004. But this place is closer because this place is very down. But when we're going to walk in the town, this is actually the best. No, this is the kind of service. This one is in the this one is in Dolphin.
And the delicious taste of meat.
Really serve them like one day.
Good life.
So let's just because once we're done now,
Thank you.
Bye-bye. All right, welcome back. It's the final stretch for Lagos Talks 91 here on Smooth.
Anything that would make their staff upset.
Yes.
I'd like to ask though, just to interject you for a bit. When push comes to shove, when do you shove your customer out of your store? I'm not encouraging any physical altercation.
I think, you know, when they become abusive, and if you can't actually, if you can't speak to them properly, or they're not willing to listen or compromise with what you're saying, you know, you can take them to one side to do that. But if they're trying to create a scene in front of everybody else, you just have to take that away, because it's not good for the other, you know, for the other customers within this, you know, within the store.
Who should diffuse that kind of situation? Is it the manager?
It would definitely. I mean, there's some certain situations that staff can't deal within, that staff can't deal with. So it should always be the manager that should deal with issues like that, and it should always be taken away from an area where there are a lot of people, so that it doesn't create a big scene with other customers.
What if the staff in question, the one that the point man is bigger than the manager? You know, you have situations where the manager is actually a small statured person, and the customer service representative is actually a bigger person. I mean, would you still apply that in principle?
No, I don't. That lies with the, with the store manager or any duty manager on duty.
All right, thank you on this because a number of debates have gone on, and it seems as if what's it called? People are now going towards them as part of, what, the customer is always right. Sometimes you need to tell it to them, you need to tell them to take their business elsewhere.
They need to money. We're all spending money.
So each person should be treated with respect, irrespective of status.
Yes,
you have to be treated. Thank you so much, Faith. Thank you for sharing with us your experience in working in this field, and hopefully this has been useful for listeners, particularly entrepreneurs who are either starting out or who don't actually know. We've given you free course 101, customer service 101 in what you have studied in business class. So a big thank you to Faith. How can people, is there a way people can follow you on social media? Would you like to share that with us?
Actually, I'm not on social media as such.
You're a one-on-one person.
Don't worry.
Yes, but thank you so much for having me. It's been really, really nice being here, and I've
amazing
enjoyed it.
No,
And I would love to come back next time.
Oh, fantastic. Thank you so much.
It's 20 out of 10.
Let's give ourselves a round of a long time in this industry, training, learning, and you have an impeccable way of relating with people. So that's really great. All right, Lagos, thank you so much for being a part of the conversation. Tomorrow is Valentine's Day Eve. So we hope you're ready. Everyone who's listened to us right from 6 a.m. when we started, don't forget, we shared during the time ways in which you increase or build your network space during Beyond the Quote at 6:05. If you missed that, really great points there, go onto our Facebook page, facebook.com/smooth981fm to read and also watch the video from earlier this morning. Following that, we had the national news stories at 6:30. And there we shared with you stories from around the world, and we have a short clip on our Instagram page where we shared with you the fact that Justice Smollett is back again in trouble because he's been asked to go back into court. So you can see a short clip of that on our Instagram page. Instagram is at smooth981.
Check out the headlines. We streamed Freshly Press 91 earlier, so go check out our YouTube page. Please subscribe. Type in Matchbox Smooth. All the stories you see announced.
Freshly Press, Business Express 91, Lagos Talks 91. Thank you very much.